Hello there and welcome back to my shed. I'm not normally one for doing tutorials. Basically my videos are watching an old boy in his shed having a go at making something. But I thought I'd give a tutorial or a demonstration a go. And it's about making a lattice lid. So what you need is some discs, a flat top tool rest, some homemade tools. The tool rest is a piece of angle iron that I just mounted onto this piece of wood. The homemade tools, made from an old screwdriver, made it flat and made a nice thin cutting edge. Should go into that a bit more in a minute. We need to make a jig or two. This one's mounted onto a faceplate, and there's some holes drilled in there where we need offsets. So we'll come back to that in a minute. So the first thing we need to do is to cut some discs, and I found the best way is to cut two discs and watch where the grain is, and make sure if the grain's running that way, glue it so the other piece is running that way, if you get what I mean, and stick them up and let them go off. For the discs I turned a cylinder which is 1 14/16 in diameter, and from that we shall cut a disc of 1/8 of an inch thick. So over to the table saw. Glued up and lightly compressed on the lathe. Okay, now we'll talk about the jig I made to put these little discs in. For the first part of the jig, an 8-inch circle of ply, and through the centre I've put, rather on the big side, but that's all I've got in my shed at the moment, a dowel tapped into the centre, and if you make one of these little jigs up with various offsets to the centre, you can drill what holes you like. So that's that part. The actual little jig that's going to take the discs, I've glued 2 pieces of ply together. I've used ply because it's nice and no warpage, nice and flat, and it's got to be flat. On the reverse side, part drill through the in the centre, and in this case 1/2 inch from the centre. So what you do when you want to do your offset, put a peg in the 1/2 inch, and then put your 1/2 inch onto the centre, and that will give you an offset. You'll see as we go along how it all comes together. Okay, on to the next stage. The flat tool rest was made from a piece of 3/4 angle iron, and I mounted it on a piece of ash, screwed it in, some epoxy resin just to help hold it on there, and this post was turned so it fits into the banjo. Over to the tools. As I said, I made this from an old screwdriver, flattened it so it fits on the tool rest, nice and flat. Took it down, sharpened it. I don't know if you can see. Where are we? And I've used some correction fluid to mark 1/8 of an inch deep. Made 2 of those. One's a narrow one, and that is for helping to clean out the grooves when you're finished. But we'll see all this as we go along. So now the glue's dried, we'll take that out from there, and we'll place it into the jig. I dare say you could make as many of these as you like, different sizes. This one is for a 4.5 centimetre disc. With the insert in the jig, I like to give it just a couple of spots of hot glue. Let that go off. Now to put the jig on the faceplate. fixing it on the centre pins first, you can sand and polish this. Close that off and it's on the offset peg. So we're ready to cut. Now to take take the insert out and reverse it and then put it back on the centre pins. So get that out, we need just to warm it up with a hot air gun. any glue can be wiped off with a cloth or a piece of paper towel. Cloth preferably, don't want no bits of paper stuck in there. Remove any glue off your face plate or your jig. And just give it a dab of hot glue. You may have heard it when it broke through. Okay, so take this off. There you can see how it's coming on. It needs all these little grooves cleaning out a little bit now. You can use the long thin tool that I showed you, and a bit of rummaging about I found an old scribe, and this would be just nice to just clean out these little bits here. And after spending a few minutes cleaning the inside out, there we are. I'll try a little experiment here. I've cut a 1/4 inch disc, just a single disc, and instead of using hot glue, we'll try some double-sided tape. And there we can see just beginning to break through. The temptation is to perhaps go in a bit deeper, but you risk going right through and ruining it. So for a few minutes, taking your time, just cleaning up inside these rings, you can get a nice job from it. And after a bit of cleaning, it doesn't look too bad, apart from the blood on it where I stuck that in my finger, but never mind. So that's another way of doing it. Put it back on the jig and polish it up. And there we are, another lattice insert for a lid. There we are, the two lattice inserts for a lid. Assuming this is a lid, you could place the insert offset. You could make several of them to fit on a lid. All sorts of spirals that you could use using the offsets. Well, thank you very much for watching this little video on making these lattice inserts for a lid. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Catch you later.